have a very interesting hobby? Yes. Or is it an interest? Watching parallel cinema or realistic cinema? Yes. Do you feel that commercial cinema is non-realistic?
To some extent, yes.
Which movie have you liked the most that you have watched till date?
Tell me, what were the causes of you not making it in the earlier three attempts? Where did you fall short?
Gaurav, how are you doing, Gaurav? Gaurav, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Sir, I'm Gaurav Pandey, 25 years old. Sir, I was born in Sant Ravidas Nagar, Bhadoi. Since my father was in Indian Army, I've done my schooling from different states. I've done my graduation in English Literature from Delhi University. Currently, I'm preparing for civil services and also doing my master's from IGNOU.
English literature. Okay. That's very nice.
Yeah, so my hobbies are journal writing, reflective diary writing, and watching parallel cinema and playing chess.
Very good. Gaurav, what have you had for your lunch today?
Sir, chapati and Shimla mirch ki sabzi.
Suppose I'm a vegetarian and I want to have a balanced diet. What kind of lunch should I prefer if I am working that day?
Balanced diet for a vegetarian. Sir, a balanced diet should have carbohydrates, sources of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats as well. So I will recommend for a vegetarian green vegetables because it also has iron and other vitamins and minerals. I'll recommend chapati for carbohydrates, rice, brown rice is better than white rice, pulses for protein, and curd for better digestion and also gut health.
Well, I don't think I'll be able to consume that much. But anyhow, that's a nice menu. Gaurav, have you heard about the Jal Jeevan mission?
Yes.
Can you elaborate the objectives of that mission?
So the primary objective is to provide functional taps to households, to all households in rural and urban areas, and also, so I'm not very sure about whether it also includes rejuvenation of water bodies and other things. But what I'm sure about is its mandate is to provide functional household taps and water supply to all the rural areas in India and also urban areas.
Okay. Are you aware about India's presence in Africa? Yes. In how many different roles India is trying to build its presence in Africa?
Sir, India is engaging with Africa on various fronts. India is engaging with African Development Bank, Girmitia countries. India is also energy projects like in Romuva gas field in Mozambique, and various infrastructure projects also like International Technical Corporation, ITEC. I'm not able to recall the full form of that, and this is all that I can recall at this time.
Can you name 5 African countries which are south of the equator, excepting South Africa?
Okay, so, sir, I want a few seconds.
Yes, please.
Sir, Namibia, Botswana, Togo and Benin, I'm not very sure about.
Sure about Never mind. You have studied English literature, right? And now you want to come into the civil services. Don't you think you would do a greater justice to your talent if you try to go into the field of literature, become an author, and perhaps win a book or some higher literary award for India?
Yes, sir, I think English literature has given me skills and learnings that I'll be able to use in civil services. Civil services was always my priority. I always wanted to become a civil servant. I did not see literature as a career even when I joined the English literature course. That is why immediately after my graduation, I started preparing for civil services. But yes, if I'm unable to, even after giving my 100%, if I'm unable to qualify for the civil services, this is my plan B. When
Okay. Whom do you admire in English literature?
so there are various writers whom I admire. Uh, some of them in British literature, it would be Charles Dickens, William Shakespeare. In American literature, it would be F. Scott Fitzgerald. And in Indian literature, it would be Raja Rao, Mulk Raj Anand, R.K. Narayanan. All these writers I admire a lot.
You heard about Robert Frost? Yes. Can you highlight some of his work?
So he has written, I know some of his poems. One of the most famous poems is The Road Not Taken. One poem is, uh, these are very famous lines. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. This poem, the title of the poem is Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. This is what I know about Robert Frost.
William Shakespeare is considered as the father of sonnet writing. Now, in his sonnets, he made an indirect reference to someone. Who is that person? Like, have you heard about shall I compare thee to a summer's book?
Yes.
Who is this thee?
Sir, I assume that it is his beloved, but I'm not very sure about this.
Gaurav, you have a very interesting hobby. Or is it an interest? Watching parallel cinema or realistic cinema? Do you feel that commercial cinema is non-realistic?
To some extent, yes.
Which movie have you liked the most that you have watched till date?
So there are various movies, several movies which I've liked a lot. But I'll mention the most influential work in Indian cinema, the movie by Guru Dutt, Pyasa. I will call that one of my favorite movies of all time.
Gaurav, do you think parallel cinema promotes anarchism in the society?
No, sir, I do not think that it promotes anarchism. Most of the time it is.
What is the aim of making parallel cinema? What the directors and the producers are trying to achieve?
So the aim of it is said that art reflects society. The aim of parallel cinema is to show what is happening in the society, the reality of the society. So that the primary purpose is not entertainment, but to make people aware, to make people feel what the marginalized are feeling. That is the primary purpose of parallel cinema, according to me.
Are you aware of any cinematic work which was conceived and implemented during the 19th century or early 20th century? Or any theatrical work, any poem, drama, etc., which contributed to nation building here in India?
So there were poems by Allama Iqbal, Faiz Ahmad Faiz, and various works like Bankim Chand Chattopadhyay's work like Rajmohan's Wife, Anand Math. These have contributed to nation building.
How do you evaluate Iqbal?
I do not know much about him. I have read a few poems, but I do not know much about him. I know that initially he was in favor of a united India, but later on he became a staunch supporter of a different separate Pakistan. This is what I know.
Good. One of your other hobbies is reflective journaling. What you try to achieve by indulging yourself in this hobby?
So reflective journaling is a process of taking a step back from experiences, reflecting on it, what I've learned, what are my mistakes, and then improving myself. This is what is the primary purpose, but it also has some other purposes, like it helps me in channelizing my thoughts, being self-aware, understanding myself more, more and more, and also understanding people around me. And it also helps me in keeping myself mentally healthy.
Kind of introspection.
Yes, it is an exercise.
So, do you write your stuff?
Yes, I write it almost every.
How do you maintain your right to privacy then?
So it is my personal name.
Okay. How do you ensure that while you are doing this kind of introspection, you are maintaining the high standards of objectivity while analyzing your own past actions?
So it is a process of evolution. Initially, when I started writing it during my college days, I was not very self-critical, but with time I became self-critical, but also ensuring that I'm not over-analyzing or over-criticizing. So it's a balance. It only comes with practice and also only comes with time.
You also mentioned, Gaurav, that while you are indulged in this hobby, you often try to find out what mistakes you have committed. Which is the largest or which is the biggest mistake that you have committed till date?
So last year my grandfather passed away. So only during these writings of introspection, I realized that what I have missed when not meeting him in his last times, in his last few years, the wisdom that he could have given me. I was remembering nostalgia about the time spent with him in my childhood. So this made me realize the importance of family, the importance of my grandparents, my responsibility towards them, and also our responsibility as a society towards the elders. This is something which I consider as one of my biggest mistakes. In my pursuit of my career, I have ignored my grandparents. This I will consider as my biggest mistake.
There's a kind of remorse in your heart.
Yes, a remorse and also a dedication to.
Very good. Gaurav, whom do you idealize or admire as a leader?
Sir, I like a lot of leaders, but I will not say that I idealize anyone. Yes, sir, I would say admire uh, as a three leaders. Okay, sir. Sir, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi.
And Mahatma Gandhi. Can you highlight a quote of Abraham Lincoln?
I'm not able to recall any quote by.
Who among the three said this? I feel good when I do good. I feel bad when I do bad. That's my religion.
Sir, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll look at it.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you very much. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Okay. Gaurav,
Yes.
you said you belong to a defense family.
Yes.
Your father is in the army. Why did you not choose defense as a career?
So it would have been an honor for me to join the Indian Army or Indian Defense, but due to a specific medical condition, Alex valgus, of my foot, I wasn't able to join the. I never thought of a career in Indian Army because this is as a child I had this.
Okay, your date of birth is 10th of September. On 10th of September, do you have any idea as to what is this day celebrated as worldwide?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall.
Okay, let me tell you. It is celebrated as the World Mental Health Day. Right? I would want to know from you, why is mental health becoming such a big cause of concern in the developed countries? You have heard of top-notch tennis players or sportsmen who take a break from the game they're playing, citing mental issues. Why?
Recent case of Simone Biles, she took a break because of mental health. mental health in developed countries and also in developing countries, sir, because the pursuit of economic excellence, success has led to a kind of individualism where people are not able to interact with others, not able to share their problems, issues, and failures. This has led to issues in mental health, and also the breakdown of family structure, nuclear families, and evolution of relationships, live-in relationships, frequent cases of divorce, breakups. All these factors have led to issues in mental health.
These are actually issues which are the after effects of mental health issues. So, what I'm asking is, why is mental health becoming such a big concern?
So because of the effects that it has on the person, and there is so much awareness nowadays that the issue has come to the forefront, uh, and the effects on health, effects on the after effects that I said. This is why it is becoming an issue.
Suicide is becoming a very big problem, and sadly, this day is also known as World Suicide Prevention Day. So, keeping in mind this fact, what are the steps that you would think be taken to reduce the uh, this scourge of suicides? You know, suicides are also called as a silent epidemic. We are going through an epidemic right now. Suicides are called as a silent epidemic. So, what steps can the government take to reduce suicides?
So I think it should be a comprehensive process. Right from the beginning in schools, colleges, children should be taught, counseled the importance of life and not taking stress, and how stress management at all levels, in colleges also, in careers, what that looking at life in broad perspective. Counseling is a very important step, and other things that I can think of is it should be in public discourse always. Uh, Ambassadors, role models like actors, cricketers, politicians, and other people should also talk about it. There should be campaigns, drives. Awareness is the key, and letting people let out their feelings, vent out their feelings. Uh, this is the major way, and also cultural things like movies, cinema, television, news, books. These can also help.
Do you have any idea which is the country in the world which has got the maximum rate of suicides?
So I'm not very sure, but I think it is India.
India?
Not sure.
Greenland? You will be surprised. Okay, so this is your fourth attempt at the civil services, right? First at the interview level.
Second.
Second. So you do what you call constructive reflective journalism. So tell me, what were the causes of you not making it in the earlier three attempts? Where did you fall short?
Sir, in the first attempt, I gave a half-hearted attempt. I wasn't aware of I did not do any answer writing practice in the very first attempt. In my second attempt, I scored well in all of the subjects except English literature. That was my optional in paper two. In first attempt, I got 157 marks in one paper of English literature. In the second attempt, I got 90 marks. So my marks were by 60 marks, which was surprising. And since I had got 157 in the same paper, so I wasn't able to decipher how I got that. In the third attempt, I got good marks in my means, but my interview went really bad. I was very nervous, and I did not appear for any mock interviews. That was one factor. This is my first mock interview, in fact, so I scored very poorly in my interview. That
What
is,
went wrong in the interview?
sir, the most important thing is I was very, very nervous. I was
Why was it?
Sir, because I didn't practice it. I didn't take any mock interviews. So I was extremely nervous seeing the board members. First time I was facing five members sitting. And one more thing that they asked me, I believe that if the beginning of the interviews goes well, then you gain confidence. But my starting was disastrous. they asked me some questions which I was, their viewpoint was completely different from mine. And I was, so not confrontation, but I stuck to my point. I stuck to my point, and that was something which I shouldn't have, I think. I should have dealt with it in a different manner.
This is the main reason for it.
So what are the lessons learned of this interview now?
Since is that I have to give public speaking, I have to give so that I to stay polite and also respect board members'
Opinions. And even if I have a strong opinion about something, I have to present it in a very polite and respectful manner, and also understand why they are saying what they are saying. This is my biggest learning.
Okay, your name is Gaurav, and your mail ID is gauravpandey.gp. Why?
So GP is Gaurav Pandey. Yeah, that is why my mail ID is this. Yeah. So it is easier to remember.
also my friends from Egypt.
Okay, Gaurav, what does Gaurav mean?
Means respect.
Good. You played chess at the university level, right? And that means you are very good at it. Yes, I do believe. And you say you also like to play chess as a hobby also.
Yes.
Tell me, what are the different formats of chess?
So there are various formats of chess. Internationally, there are only two accepted formats. There are two accepted formats in terms of the chess 960 or Fischer random and the classical chess. But in terms of time controls, there are rapid, blitz, classical, and also bullet, but it is not played internationally by FIDE. But there are bullet, hyper bullet. These are the formats.
Who is the only person who is a world champion in all the formats?
Sir, Magnus Carlsen from Norway. And in terms of the various formats in which world championships have been played, it's Vishwanathan Anand. He has won it in round robin, knockout, and the classical tournament. The FIDE conducts now. So it's Vishwanathan Anand, the only player.
Okay, moving away from chess, if I were to ask you, in India, which sector do you think has got the maximum possibility to transform India into a superpower?
Sir, economic sector? Are you asking?
Transform India into a superpower.
See in terms of
Sector.
Yes.
Sir, I think India's demographic dividend. If India is able to leverage its demographic dividend and scale its people, so we can gain a lot of power as a nation in terms of various sectors of economy, industry, services.
Which particular sector do you think you're going to do it?
It's a services sector.
And why do you think that?
We are already very strong in that sector, but we are mostly outsourcing activities. But if you are able to make companies, big tech giants like Amazon, Flipkart, I'm sorry, sir, not Flipkart is Indian, Amazon, Apple, any tech giant services sector, Google, Oracle. So these, we have seen that in the last few years, especially in 21st century, the tech giants have more power than any other. They have more power, in fact, than sovereign states as well. So I think there India can become the champion and become.
Where do you see the role of the defense sector in this journey?
defense sector is very important.
But indigenization in defense sector is a goal which the government is pursuing, but we still lag behind. We import most of our defense equipments. That is why I did not name the defense sector.
And on the journey ahead, where do you see the defense sector playing a big role?
Yes, it will be a very, very big one.
We are seeing in the recent Russia-Ukraine war also the importance of defense, defense indigenization. The DRDO is working for it, and I think this will decide India's future in terms of security, geopolitical importance of India. Defense sector will play a big role.
Okay, one last question, Gaurav, tell me. Name three qualities that you have which will make you a good civil servant.
Person, and I think through my hobbies and the feedback that I've got from my teachers and friends, I think I have a decent level of emotional intelligence. That is number one. Number two is I stay calm and composed in most situations. And number three is being from an army background, I have a strict sense of discipline and perseverance towards what I do. So these are the three qualities that I think will make
You belong to the defense background, and that has made and brought that culture of discipline in you. So, do you think NCC or defense or maybe short term in the defense services inscription, as it is called, should be made compulsory in India for everybody? Or let's start with NCC compulsory in school. Yes or no?
No, sir, I do not think it should be compulsory. Although NCC has a lot of advantages, it imparts a lot of qualities to every individual, but we are a democratic nation and everyone should be free to pursue a career. Not everyone has interest in these things.
Career. NCC in school.
Yes, I want that question. Despite its advantages, which should be able to give basic education, they may
A
be
student who is not interested in that kind of physical activities, he is interested in artistic works, he is interested in, so apart from basic education, he should follow his passion. And that is why I think making something compulsory or mandatory is not the way forward. But we should promote NCC more and more so that students are aware of that and they take it up. But it should not be mandatory.
Apart from whatever little education that is being imparted, will it not bring in a sense of discipline in the students?
Yes, sir, it will. Yes, sir, it will. It will. But
but again, as I said, I think
a burden on them that it has to be done. It is compulsory. I think there are students who even without the NCC can become disciplined. So this for this reason, as I said, I think awareness should be created and people should be students should be motivated to join the NCC, but not forced.
Okay. Thank you, Gaurav.
Yes, sir.
do you believe that Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb, what India is known for, is vanishing gradually? So, I don't see that it's vanishing.
But yes, it is in danger. Sir, the primary reason is communalization and aggressive assertion of identities by people. This has led to deterioration of the communal harmony and the Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb.
What role social media plays in it?
So social media plays the most prominent role in this. Polarization, social media is the medium through which, primary medium through which communalization or polarization happens, and fake news is transferred from one place to other. WhatsApp is the storehouse of these kind of news. People get aroused and they start asserting their identities in a very aggressive way, which is antagonistic towards the other community. This is why I think Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb is in danger, as I said.
Recently, BIMSTEC was in news. Yes. Right? So,
The summit is happening today, BIMSTEC summit. That is why it was in news.
role is day by day deteriorating what it was before. So, what do you think? What should we, India as a nation, should do, as a member, should do to promote BIMSTEC?
Sir, India has the policy of low East policy, and BIMSTEC is one of the pillars of the low East policy. In its approach, BIMSTEC is very important for India because it offers economic advantages to the ASEAN nations, some of the ASEAN nations which are in BIMSTEC. Northeast can become a trade hub for BIMSTEC. We have the BBIN Motor Vehicle Pact. So these are the advantages of BIMSTEC. and India should pursue its goal because in this multilateral world, uh, uh, our current foreign policy is focused on Indo-Pacific, and BIMSTEC can be a way forward to pursue that policy.
Okay. Out of Mahatma Gandhi and V.R. Ambedkar, whose views on caste do you support? And why?
So both have their own uh, positive aspects and negative aspects, but I'll go with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's view.
Okay. Why?
Sir, I believe that a society, for the society to grow, the most important thing is evolution. A 1,000-year-old institution should not exist in India, which Dr. Ambedkar believed in annihilation of caste. Though it sounds very strong, but I believe in that. There should be no annihilation of there should be annihilation of caste and no uh, difference based on caste, creed, uh, which stifles individual development, which stifles liberty, and it also is enshrined in our constitution. Uh, so I go by his rules. Gandhiji's views were related to spirituality, faith, and he always focused on change of heart. Uh, I think it would be a person who is discriminated against. Uh, for him to wait for someone's change of heart is not a is something which I won't subscribe to. That is why I go with the views of Dr. Ambedkar.
Any specific aspect of Ambedkar's ideas which you do not admire?
Sir, in terms of economy, he supported state socialism, state-owned production and distribution, state-owned production of agricultural land as well. I think in today's economy, globalization, although he said that in the time where there was not much globalization, but I think today's times that idea doesn't hold. So from putting that idea in today's times, I would say that I do not admire that a lot.
Okay. Do you think that politicization of class uh, should take place in India instead of politicization of caste? That is good for our democracy.
Yes, sir. I think politicization of class, in the sense that class consciousness comes to the fore, the income inequality comes to the fore. In that sense, I think politicization in a positive way, it is important for our democracy, so that the responsibilities of the super rich and the striking income inequalities, poverty, issues of poverty comes to the fore. In that sense, class consciousness in politics is very important.
But class consciousness still is absent in most of the classes. Just take an example of farmers.
Yes.
Are they class conscious while they are voting?
Yes, sir. I think they are class conscious.
So caste is the dominant factor.
But it's not that they are not absolutely oblivious of the class or their economic stature. The recent farmers' protest, I think, was based on their plight of their one of the reasons for
Voting, election. Does class consciousness play a role in India? So
the main factor is the caste consciousness.
class consciousness. That's what we need to do. You must be aware about the current Ukraine crisis. What are the learnings for India?
So the learnings for India are: number one, to strengthen its borders, to form alliances in a way so the most important learning is modernization of defense and strengthening the defense sector, indigenization of defense equipments, strengthening our protecting our borders, and giving a strong reply to the bordering countries who like China, who attack us or who are on the offensive. This is the number one learning.
How can we give a strong reply? Can you elaborate on that?
Sir, we are giving a strong reply. China recently passed a border law. In reply to that, India also launched the Vibrant Village scheme. We are constructing infrastructure, roads, and establishments in the region of Ladakh and also in Arunachal Pradesh. We are developing villages for tourism, for defense. So this is a strong reply. And another learning from Ukraine-Russia crisis is Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think the effect of economy that we are having. So we are vocal for local is also a very important learning from that. Because currently we are due to the rise in oil prices. So this the learning is that we should focus on our strength, that is renewable energy, so that we are self-sufficient or self-dependent, more and more self-dependent on energy classes.
Do you think that India should discard no first use policy in case?
So the image of India in the global space as a peace-loving country, as a responsible country, a country which respects UN Charter, the international law, I do not think it would be a good step to discard the no first use policy, because our policy also has credible minimum deterrent, and if someone attacks us, then our attack will be final and detrimental to the other country. So these other aspects of our policy balance the no first use policy. But there could be a debate on it, there could be a discussion on it, whether it is feasible in the current times. But as of now, I think the policy cements India's position as against China, North Korea, countries like this. It cements our position as a responsible country in the world.
Okay. Choose any one district in UP apart from Lucknow. If given a chance, what product or service of your district will you promote in vocal for local?
Sir, my district Bhadoi is known as the carpet city of India, the carpet district of India. 80% of India's carpet production is from Bhadoi. Almost 3,000 crore worth of carpet is exported. 95% of the carpet that is produced is exported from Bhadoi. So carpet is the product which I will promote. There is a lot of potential still in the carpet industry. This is the product that I will promote.
One last question from my side. In the 1970s, economically, India and China both were at par. But as of now, China is much ahead than us. What went wrong with Indian policies?
So there were several things which went wrong. One thing is that China is a communist country, so they were able to push with their aggressive policies, which India was not able to do. But in terms of economics, I think one was complete focus on a lot of focus on manufacturing sector. India missed that train. We directly jumped from a primary economy to a tertiary economy with our focus and strength on the services sector. Now we are feeling that issue a lot. So being backward in the manufacturing sector, the industrial sector, that was the most important shortcoming for it. That is for which India was not able to reach that place.
One more question. In the discussion which you said that India is a democracy and nothing should be compulsory for anyone, especially the NCC. You said that NCC should not be made mandatory in schools. Should we make voting compulsory for everyone? A penal offense? Non-voting should be a penal offense?
No, sir, I do not think that voting should be compulsory. Again, as I said in that answer, there should be more and more awareness, which the Election Commission always does. Awareness about the importance of voting. We have also given the option of nota, but I think each individual's condition is very different.
For promotion of democracy, you said that we should not promote compulsory voting. We should not go for compulsory voting. But don't you think making voting compulsory will promote democracy?
So elections, I think, are not an Indian process. A person who is well informed is much better than a person who is just voting with a herd mentality. So, raising the levels of education,
levels of literacy, awareness, these will help more in promoting democracy rather than forceful voting.
Okay.
Well, just a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
What is your take on nationalism?
It is Naxalism is a very important critical security threat. Although our improvements in Naxalism is very good. The number of districts have come down to 41. The last time I read, it was 41, and the general support for Naxalite activities is also coming down. The government strategy of Samadhan is very effective, and the strategy that Naxalites use using the front organization, uh, that has also government has also cracked down on that. The Naxalism, one more viewpoint that I want to put up is that uh, Naxalism is also expanding in some ways, where there are sympathizers, empathizers in urban areas as well. Hitherto oblivious areas to Naxalism, there are also some empathizers which against the establishment, do propaganda against the establishment. So this is what I have to say.
Okay, one last final question for the day. Do you think that if a perennial peace with Pakistan can be achieved through a plebiscite in Kashmir, we should advocate it?
Sir, I think Kashmir is an integral part of India, and the extent to which the terrorist activities and the influence Pakistan has in the Kashmir area, it would not be a very fair plebiscite in any way. And our constitution doesn't has provisions for plebiscite either. So from both perspectives, I don't think from a national policy, as a national policy in terms of constitution and laws, and also a pragmatic approach, I do not think a plebiscite would be the way forward for Kashmir.
Even if perennial peace is promised, because I don't think they are going to achieve that. Because
In any case, Pakistan's viewpoint is not for the welfare of the Kashmiris, but to use them as a target to target India, to do harm to India's internal security. So plebiscite would not be the way forward.
thank you, Gaurav. Your interview is over. We will reconnect with you in some time for a feedback. Gaurav, how would you like to rate your performance? Average, above average?
Sir, I think in terms of content, knowledge-wise, it was decent. But in terms of nervousness and presenting myself, I think it was below average.
That this exercise is a test of knowledge. It is a test of personality, right? Gaurav, let me highlight the good things first. Your combination is excellent. Do you intend to wear the same combination on the day of interview? It's an excellent combination, but you're not of the time. Should be appropriate. Your buttons are visible, right? You unbuttoned it. Yes. But on the day of interviews, you should take care of that, right? Your shoes are polished. You are wearing a dark colored sock. Everything is fine. You have good communication skills. You organize your thoughts very well. Well, you have a background in literature, right? So I don't think you are facing much of a challenge in communication. Your answer with respect to what went wrong in the previous attempts was very good. You gave good answers for the chess question, how India can become a superpower, three qualities that you identified which reflects your personality or which you adhere to: emotional intelligence, discipline, calm and composed. All of that it was obvious. We could see that. But there were some blunders as well. And since Gaurav, this is a critical analysis, let's put all of our attention to this part. It's the part where we can improve, right? Because beta, the ultimate aim is to assist you to get into the services, right? So the first thing is you should not sit unless you are asked to. You sat without permission, right? That is not at all good. Then your eye contact was terrible. How the eye contact should be ideally, you see, that when somebody asks you the question, you should look into that person's eyes. Do not stare, but a soft look. Once the question is over, you should slightly lower your gaze do not put your head down. Just lower your gaze. It would be better if you start looking at the table, right? Just lowering your gaze and take a pause of 2 to 3 seconds. This creates an impression as if you're processing the question and you're trying to frame an answer for it. So there is no ready-made-ness in this. Otherwise, some questions before they could end, you started answering. So it created an impression as if you have come with some ready-made answers. Do you understand that, Gaurav? And when you are answering, you should primarily look at the person who has asked you the question. 60 to 70 to at times 80% of the time should go towards that person who has asked you the question. But meanwhile, you should also pass some soft glances. Otherwise, other members of the board will feel left out. They may even take offense. They would feel neglected for sure, right? And when you were stealing such glances, you did in 1 or 2 occasions. You were trying to, I could see that effort. But it was not appropriate. Why? Because the moment I saw you, you turned your eyes as if you do not want me to see that you were seeing. Do you get that? And you were looking like this without turning your head. You were just moving your eyeballs, right? So it creates an impression of nervousness, anxiety, you're overawed by the situation, you're not into your senses. That is what it reflects, right? You're not composed and you're in full composure. That's what it reflected. That unwarranted exit. Once I finish the disaster, you should wait. This reflects what, Gaurav? See, this is again a test of your personality. This reflects that you take decisions instantaneously and you are very unidimensional. What do you think that why the other members have come here? To listen me and you talk? And you have attended a UPSC interview, right? Previously, all the members asked you questions.
Yes.
So all who have come here, they want to know about you, right? So never do that, right? Also, the way you were sitting, when you sit, Gaurav, your spinal cord should touch the back of your seat. Go back, as if it touches. Now you are sitting appropriately. That is how you should sit. The moment you have an erect spinal cord, your personality appears to be more vibrant. You look more attentive and decisive. Do you understand that? And also, do not move towards one side of the seat. Now look at the distance of the right arm rest and your right hand and left arm rest on the left. You see that? So you have to take care of these small things. They do matter. Again, the way you have placed your feet, it is not appropriate, right? The feet should be closed and slightly open. Slightly open, yes. This is the right way to put your feet, right? Not at such great distance. Yeah, this is the right way. And you should not drag your feet beneath the chair. It should be more or less parallel to your knees. Do you get that? Your smile is very good. It's infectious. So try to wear that more often than not. Your knowledge about English literature is very good. You took a good stance on the plebiscite thing. Never say anything which is anti-constitutional, right? There is the resolution which was passed in the parliament which says that entire of Jammu and Kashmir, including Pakistan occupied Kashmir, China occupied Kashmir, and Aksai chain, is an integral part of India. And there is no question of plebiscite because that has been overridden by the Shimla Agreement, right? So keep that thing in mind. You should know a little bit more about the brimstick, right? There you did not fare well. Your knowledge about English literature, as I've already highlighted, is good. Regarding Bhimrao Ambedkar, your answer was good, that he talked about a state-controlled kind of economic situation. You could have also highlighted that he once wanted a separate electorate, and Gandhiji resisted that. And you can give an explanation for that, that the separate electorates led to the lamentable partition of the country, and hence it was a good move. If that would have been a good thing, then why the members of the Constituent Assembly overlooked separate electorates? So that would have been a good defense of highlighting something which you do not admire in Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. See, every personality has some things which make you admire him, and maybe there are some things which you do not agree to. That is the beauty of democracy and a liberal setup. Otherwise, most of the answers were very good. Sometimes I felt that you were on the verge of entering into a confrontation. I'll highlight two incidents. One incident was when Sir asked you, what about the NCC? Should we make it compulsory? See, you only highlighted before that, even if you have strong opinions, do not linger around those opinions throughout the interview. A good escape would have been, Gaurav, you say that, sir, definitely I'll give it a fresh look, I'll reconsider it. I have to consider then this perspective as well. Thank you. I'll definitely think over it. It shows that you are open-minded and you're willing to listen to your seniors, right? Because a person who is very adamant is not welcome in the administration. You would also not like a junior who is very adamant, right? Just allow him. Then you can always come up with your objections or with your reservations. You can always come up with that. That's why we have in the central government files the noting and the drafting sections. Did you get that, Gaurav? Second instance was when he asked you about the compulsory voting. There your answer was very good. But some scholars who are libertarians have also advocated for compulsory voting for a short period of time. Do you understand that? In order to democratize the masses. Like political engagement, often say on the basis of caste or some other identity, which could be detrimental to some extent. But nevertheless, it does impart or it creates an awareness about political events, right? So you should not outrightly reject that thought. You should say, sir, definitely that could be a way, but in Indian setup, I don't think that is going to work. Or to my mind, to my limited knowledge, sir, I feel that we should not adopt it, but I will definitely reconsider what you are trying to say. I'll definitely rethink over it. You have already highlighted you like reflective daily writing, right? So it gives an impression that you do not take decisions instantaneously. अब दूसरा जो perspective है उसको भी जगह देते हैं, right? Otherwise, Gaurav, excellent performance, and I feel that you are a very bright prospect. That's my feedback. Sir, you would like to answer?
You made a very confident entry. But suddenly after that, I don't know what happened. Right? The moment you sat down on your own, that was a big blunder. You were very well mannered, but I'm sure when you got up, all of a sudden it was for some other reasons, not that you had planned that way. But yes. Okay. Make sure that unless you are asked, you told that the interview is over. Thank you very much. You will leave till such time. Stay put. So the collar button, the moment you walked inside, you should have actually closed it. I mean, I understand you when you came from outside, you must have been tired or you must have been fatigued because of the sun or the heat or something. But when you came inside, you should have, on the final day, make sure that these small things don't block out the panelists. They may take offense to a care because what a casual approach. As he pointed out, I thought you were sitting on the edge in the beginning. Don't sit on the edge. You were sitting like this. No, but that gives.
Sit on the edge.
No, don't do that. No, it shows that you are not confident. It shows lack of confidence. Because if you sit on the edge, you automatically tend to go a little forward. If you sit in the back, your back erect, touching the back of the seat, you get an erect pose. So that should be comfortable. Yeah, it is much more comfortable also, yes. When you were thinking, you never took permission to think. You just started thinking and then you were looking around, here and then here. Don't do that. When you're thinking, just lower your gaze a little bit. Number one. But before that, take permission if you want to think. So can I take a few seconds to collect one? A couple of instances you did that also. But a couple of instances you did not do that. If you no, not for all the questions, but as it was pointed out, when a question is asked to you, don't shoot immediately. It means you are prepared with the answer. So you're not doctored. We are here to see, and the basic intention is what? Personality. So that means the moment something is told to you, talk, you don't shoot, you don't take a decision just like that. You give it a thought at least. So normally take maybe a second or two and then start answering. But when you have to think a little beyond 2-3 seconds, when you really have to give it a thought, 5, 7, 10, 9 seconds. In that case, so can I please collect my thoughts? Can take a few seconds to collect my thoughts. Perfect. But not for all the questions, no. Definitely no. But don't keep looking around. Just keep your eyes head there only, but just lower your gaze, just think and then answer. When asked about the 3 leadership qualities or 3 leaders question, you took a very long time. Right? So that I think was not called for. You made a very good reflection of your past performance. Your whole performance I can divide into 2 parts. Before and after. Before you smile and after you smile. In the beginning, you had a smile on your face, but later on the smile disappeared. That showed you were getting more and more nervous. And the reason for that was I was purposely egging you on about NCC question. Because you had told me earlier that I went into a confrontation mode in the earlier interviews. So I was egging you on and you fell to the bait. Don't do that, please. You may have an idea, probably somebody may have told you. If you have a school of thought, stick to it. No. That means you are adamant on your thoughts. You are not willing to accept the other opinion. So, in case the person gives you an opinion, he's trying to tell you something, no, I don't think that. You think, well, the same question is being repeated 3 times over again. Now, in this case, you'll see. I think, if I remember correctly, I asked you 3 times. And all the times you said, no, we should not do it, we should not do it, we should not do it. That means there is you are adamant on your approach. In such cases, as was pointed out, walk out of that confrontation because it will lower your own self-confidence. You've already gone through it once. So reflect on it once again and make sure that you don't repeat it again, please. If you see the person again, second time raising the same question, straight away, just lay back. I'll give it a thought. I think you are right. That also is a point well taken. Something like that. Then your communication skills were good, but your voice modulation was missing and your voice was a very, very low pitch. I really had to strain my ears to listen to what you were saying. It was so low. That is not really called for. So, when you are confident, you speak clearly and loudly. You were speaking beautifully, but the pitch was too low. It makes you sound very, very soft. You shouldn't be so soft. So make sure that your pitch of the voice is slightly raised so that people can hear you loud and clear. And these points have been told to you with the intention to make sure that I have a feeling you're going to make it. These small things will help you make it even better. So whatever the score that you get, I can assure you 25 to 30 marks are on the table for the asking by you. You can do them by your own. But you have to do a little bit of reflection and nothing else. All the very best.
Thank you very much.
Gaurav,
Yes, sir.
so you have pleasing personality, and most of the answers were excellent. Direct question answer, then literature questions were handled well. 4 attempts, what was the reason, what went wrong, that was handled very well. vocal for local, no first use policy. So your knowledge wise, there is no issue. Now, some issues are, one issue is eye contact, as rightly mentioned. Your voice was very low. It was difficult to make sense what you are saying at many places. Usually you speak like this, or today is some special occasion?
Most I speak as not to you, but maybe because of I was very unsuccessful.
Okay.
In that interview as well. This is my first mock interview ever. In my previous time, yes, sir, I was sleep. But in that interview, the members were sitting very close to me. They were not behind a table. They were sitting on individual sofas. So one member was sitting here, another was sitting here, another was sitting here. So they were very, very close to me. So I don't think that voice was a problem there. But I will work on my voice. I'll try to raise my voice levels.
And there were unusual pauses. Without taking permission, you were taking long, long pauses. So as rightly said by sir, for 2 second pause, there is no need to ask for permission. But beyond that, we should ask for permission. Okay. If you improve on that, just eye contact and the voice. If you improve on these areas, 25 to 30 marks jump will be there. Easy. Okay.
Gaurav, anything specific you would like to ask before I declare your marks?
Sir, I was extremely nervous. As I said, I'm repeatedly saying this. I was very nervous. In fact, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you overawed by the situation?
Sir, I think I'm. It was because of the bad memory of my first interview. That is what is has overwhelmed me. That
You should.
Absolutely.
It's slapping you more often than not. Just throw it away. Right? What has been done is done. Right? Be prospective. Do not have a retrospective mindset. Yes. And I think somebody advised him that you should sit on the edge of the chair. When you sit on the edge of the chair, obviously it shows that as if you are too submissive.
Yes.
Right? You should not be too submissive. As an officer, should you be too submissive? No. And it also shows that you are not confident. That's why you are so submissive. What he might have, or that person might have intended to say is, you should not lean back. Like if I sit like this and that, then this gives as if I am not at all interested, or I feel that ये होगा अपना interview. मैं कुछ बड़ी चीज. Do you get that? What we are saying, neither like this nor like this, but like this. Do you get it? So very erect. So it showcases that the attention position. As you sit, like how you are sitting now. That's the right position. Anything else, Gaurav? Take this thing in a positive way, dear, right? And see, 4 attempts. Gaurav, how many nights, how many days, so many seasons you have toiled hard there, right? This is the opportunity. This is the time. You should make it, and you will make it if you work on these areas. Otherwise, you are a brilliant candidate. You are very bright, and you're still very young. How old are you? 20. So you're very young, right? So you can still serve long in the administration. So do it this time, right? And for that, you see that you should get the monkey of your shoe. The ghosts of the past are not allowing you to move forward, right? How much was your score last time?
46.
6. Well, this time in this interview, there is a definite improvement. The board has awarded you 170, despite the grave error where you suddenly started exiting the room. So maybe, otherwise you might have got 190, right? Otherwise your speaking skills were excellent. Your manners, your way you are sitting, your smile, your personality, everything is very good here. Very good. And I have a hunch that you're making it. All the best, bro. When is your interview schedule? All the best.
All the best.
Remember